Don't know, I'm a psychic medium. I cover the astrology. This is your report card for the month of August, as well as I'm going to be connecting in crucial dates, anything you need to look at, as well as anything relating to your chakras that potentially can come up. I'll wait for a few people to connect as I'm looking at the ruin for the month for you. Let's find it, and we will get into the dates, times, places. Now, in this, it does connect in with couples, singles, those of you on the fence, and I will use my psychic gifts to tune into that, as well as it's going to cover your career, any major themes that are coming up, and you do have quite a unique month coming up. Right, oh gosh, okay, let's look where that placement is for you. We have the energy of Uranus going retrograde on the 15th, but we will be in shadow, and this ruin directly does link to such, and I will actually talk about it towards the end and then sum up the read to give you the information as to how you need to look at this. Now, the other videos and other zodiac signs, they're going to be launched at 10, which will be AM in America. So it's a few hours away. They will be launched. They're on Premiere, as well as the next three that I have, which is Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And I've already got them ready to go. Now, on the first day of the month, we are having Cancer in Mercury, trining Pluto. Now, the frequency coming through, it's more the opposition energy of what will be coming through will be subjects to do with your relationships, contracts, and partnerships and your place in the situation. This can bring a lot of emotions up, but on the same day, we also are going to have the Sun in Leo. It is trining Chiron in Aries. So subjects to do with your finances, your shared resources, if you're needing to look at paperwork and you're needing to look at whether it's beneficial for you, looking at the wounds to do with potentially home-based business or home-related dynamics can be coming up. So a lot of your wounds do link into home energy. This can be due to things that are happening at home. It can be your psychology, push-pull, what's going on in the collective. Your fourth house placement for the entirety of August, hi Dale, is going to be coming up for you in a major way. And it's really important that you keep an eye on that one area. Now, if things aren't so great at home, or you're doing renovations or transforming or looking at that scenario, it's really important to keep that in mind. Also, it can be memories of the past coming up due to circumstances that are coming up and playing out. So when we do reach September, the one thing you do need to keep in mind, your daily routine is going to be absolutely crucial that you get underway, in balance. We can't make sure 100% it's going to be perfect, but by the time Mars does go retrograde, you will find that that's going to be really important, and it can be where, we go to actually get grounded, but potentially for you, there are wounds linking to that. Your safety, your psychology, maybe the routine. It's the house and where we develop that energy. So there are wounds linking there. Just be mindful of that. Also be careful with your family and communications. It can come up where, due to circumstances and frustration, the benefit is turning to the people around you that you love and going towards those energies is really going to benefit you this month. So the aspect that it's being made, as much as you will have challenges on that day, as long as you have somebody that you can actually talk to, that you can reach out to, it can actually balance out, and you will have the tools inside you to be able to deal with the challenges. Now, the big theme this month is going to be Uranus going retrograde. As I mentioned, it's occurring on the 15th. On the 2nd, we're going to have the Sun in Leo squaring Uranus and Taurus. For this placement, your shared resources and things again to do with romance, children, and luck can be coming up. When we have the Sun in Leo, a lot of us can be experiencing, the end of July, we would have been experiencing it, moving into August, headaches and third eye energy, needing to tune into things, needing to really study and think on scenarios. Again, it can be you actually having a lot of clarity and coming to a comprehension about things, but at the same time, the way you're seeing your future moving forward, you may have a lot of clarity, but we've really got to be mindful of not plowing through and moving into burnout. So when it does come to your finances and shared resources, if people around you aren't partaking in that equation and you're doing more than they are, there can become imbalances on that day when it does come to you actually doing more than what other people are doing. So just be really cautious with your throat chakra in the month of August, and even when we have Mars going retrograde, because we can become very aggressive in nature. And even if you're not, it can be the people around you that are amplifying and agitating that situation. Now, on the 3rd, we're having the full moon in Aquarius, and it falls in your second house placement. So with the second house placement, it is your direct resources. It can be land-related dynamics. It also is the house in which we actually develop our self-esteem. So your direct resources can be linking into your career sector, the tools in which you've established in your life to build your self-esteem. It can even be your routine, so to speak. So looking at your routine to keep you balanced. What it is going to do in a full moon energy, it can agitate that frequency. So what can come up during a full moon can be a little bit of a purge, especially because we are going to have the sun in Leo. We're really tuning into past tense events and looking at things. And Aquarius is global energy. So there potentially can be things playing out on the news to trigger us. What's happening at the moment can be triggering us. So sitting with that just for a little bit, taking your shoes off, doing some breathing if you're feeling agitated, maybe journaling. One thing I do to actually purge things out is be kind to myself and sit with it. See what comes up, and journaling. And if it's something that you need to make peace with, yes, it's inside you. Yes, it's an aspect of what's going on in your life, but letting it go and setting the tone for that new frequency moving forward. 2021 is a lot nicer than where we are right now. There is a lot of hard work over the next few months moving to the end of the year, and it will become heavier as we go. As we have planets going direct, you will tend to find that, during the retrograde effect, it's fast paced. Things are coming at you in those areas. When it goes direct, you're then implementing all of that internalization, all of that mental process that we've gone through to then get that ball moving to get more in a balanced situation. So there can be a lot of wider group energy subjects coming up in your life on the 3rd. It might be people needing on you, you reflecting upon it, how people maybe spoke to you in certain ways and affected your self-esteem, and maybe situations that were playing out, how it directly did affect your ability to provide for yourself, so to speak. So it really depends on how it lands for you, but it is second house placement. Just take a bit of space on that day. I would say really good time to actually get very organized, and don't start anything brand new if you can really avoid it, only because this month is very heavy with finalizing energies. If you are building, I will get to that in your career sector when I read the report, to give you advice for those of you that are doing home-based businesses, or if you're looking for employment, and even if you're working, what energies come up for you. Now, on the 4th, we have Mars and Aries squaring Jupiter. So any sense of wanting to build, again, the frequency of where you stand, your psychology, your home-related dynamic, and you can be coming up. And again, it's like, it can be situations that are playing out. It doesn't have to be, directly. It's work or it's a person. It's what's going on inside of you relating to the energy of the past or a direct current event. So if you're at home and you have children and you're looking at your future growth and you're wondering how it's going to be, subjects surrounding that can come up. Some of you may be looking at renovations and wondering how you can do that. Do you have the capacity? Is it the correct thing to do right now? Again, sit with that frequency and tune into it for a little bit. As the month progresses, you'll have clarity on what to do with that factor. Also on the same day, we're having Venus. Gemini is in Venus around this date, and it is conjunct the nodes. So subjects to do with your health can come up. Also to do with your, some of you, if you're working, your career sector, your self-esteem. If people are defaming you, if you put your money where your mouth is and you've done the hard work, subjects to do with that can come up. I also feel with the Venus and Gemini energy, it was really talking to us when we did have the retrograde about what social situations we were doing, what's coming up for us that we can find in our local area, because Gemini is very local based frequency over wider group when we look at global energy. So when it comes to travel, it's more your day-to-day routine, and because it's in the energy of Venus, it's what can you do maybe in a sense of luxuries. Now, during last month, you may have found there were certain things you didn't achieve due to the fact we had Venus retrograde in Gemini. During that process, a lot of us maybe were looking towards lighter energy and trying to find a little bit of a sense of enjoyment, but some situations may have gone by the wayside, and some reflection could come up to do with this during this state. And if you already are feeling that, it's really good to start getting on top of it. The beginning of the month, moving to mid-month, is pretty heavy, where the squaring aspects, especially with Uranus going retrograde, they come very quickly, especially with our finances. If we have found that things hadn't been flowing and we've been pushing things uphill, suddenly you can have the polar opposite happening where money can actually be flooding in. So sit with that and just see what's coming up. Again, document, try and keep these states and see how it's playing out for you so that you can gauge, with what situation is coming up and you can actually navigate the way forward. Then we're going to be having Mercury entering Leo. And I really feel, especially because it does fall in your 8th house, you may be talking in relation to, and this is wide energy. So however it lands, place it. 8th house can be to do with births, deaths, legacies, wills. It's also shared resources. It does link in with contracts, but it can be to do with memories of the past, of people that passed away, and endings, because it's very Pluto energy. It doesn't have to be a most recent event. This can be just deeply reflective in nature, but it's Mercury energy, so it can be conversations that come to the forefront. Also, if you're dealing with any contracts or partnerships, you can be speaking about these things around these dates, especially since on the 7th we do have Venus entering Cancer. So it's your emotions coming to the forefront relating to these contracts. So it's making that axis between the 4th and the 7th. Okay, remember that. The 4th and the 7th subjects to do with your emotions, your feelings, and where you want to take things. You even could be speaking to individuals that you're working with where you feel there potentially could be an imbalance and it's hurting your feelings and, you're concerned about something. It can be very emotional around this time. Also, there can be subjects to do with you wanting to actually beautify your home, make it a more nurturing environment, or directly looking at, with your employment, where are we going if you're wanting to purchase a house? So subjects also surrounding this can be coming up. Yeah. Okay. Again, it's off Venus house for me is Scorpio, so I'm used to that energy. It's like there is this notion at the moment that we are having a rebirth. So a lot of us can be really reflective at the moment and going, oh my gosh, doom and gloom. Aquarius energy, we had Saturn in Aquarius. So a lot of us were feeling a little bit lighter around June, July, midway, and then it got heavy again. That is because we did have Saturn visiting Aquarius. Now it's moved back into Capricorn, which is pretty heavy again. So it's dig, 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 let's move, let's get things done. Now, Mercury in Leo, pertaining to your intuition and the way you're seeing things, you might get some foresight into your home environment. There is great opportunities on the 9th. So if you have some clarity and you have some unique ways to use your resources, to use what you have at your disposition, or even have a hunch into a dream, there is a great time on the 9th for guided meditation and intuition. But again, try and keep your third eye clear. Do meditation for your third eye. You can use crystals for it. Drinking fluid also linking in with your crown chakra is going to keep the headaches at bay. Again, I'm not a doctor. If you need checking, August is a great month for that. Now we have Mars conjunct Black Moon Lilith. So it's tongue-in-cheek. It's directly linking in with the Aries and Chiron energy. Now, even though we have Chiron and Aries, Mars is conjunct Black Moon Lilith. Both are in Aries. So it's making an aspect to that place Just be cautious on this day, but you can find clarity. As long as you can look at your shadow and realize what it is, and then try and nut over some of the things that you're looking at, whatever is coming up on that day, just know that you can get through it. You do have the tools at hand. If you're needing support, reach out, talk to somebody, have that backup energy that is very neutral in a sense, as well as understanding that it can be a purgatory effect. On the 10th, we also have Mercury in Leo. Again, caution with your communication relating towards your family members, your loved ones. It is a squaring aspect. They may be telling you some home truths. There can be expenses surrounding this time as well, because there can be this feeling of you owe them or they owe you. The squaring aspect surrounding it can be expenses. It's also in a healthier level. You may have a lot of intuition relating to what you need to do, but it's the hard yards of what you would need to do to make those hopes and dreams come true in these areas relating to your romantic life, your luck, children, and what you'd need to do to change it. But it is luxury orientated because it's Taurus. Whatever this is, moving towards the 15th, you're going to get warning signs. So the major warning signs will be on the 2nd. Where else? And then the 10th, very heavily on the 13th. And then by the 15th, it will be stationary retrograde. Okay. And many of my clients have already experienced it. So some of you, if you've been really working hard in that area with the retrograde, it's like that double check. Okay, are we in alignment? Are we going the right way? If we're not, yes, the catalyst of that energy can be a little bit messy, but it's not the sort of energy to ruin you. It's more the energy to get you to your higher goal. It seems to be the frequency to push us in the correct direction. So please trust the process regardless. It's not to say it's fun when it happens, but we just need to trust the process regardless. On the same day of the 10th, we're having Mars squaring Jupiter. So where we're going, how we're growing, directly connecting to your home. You also have Mars squaring Pluto. Again, the devil in the detail. It is very 8th house placement. Read your fine print this month. By the end of the month, you'll find if you're tackling things and you're needing to a lot of paperwork, a lot of running around, very local, maybe a lot of telephone calls, it's going to be really feisty in a sense of busyness. Just take 5. Take 5. You will get through it. And know that these challenges are there for the betterment. Overall, you are going to have something transform in your 5th house placement because this is the placement for you. Some of you may have a sudden unexpected pregnancy. You may hear of somebody falling pregnant. Others of you can have a change in your connection. It can be you've gone from being platonic to going to the next stage. It is beneficial, but there also can be money coming in from partnerships, money coming in from connections, and money for children. So whatever this is, it's almost like universe is transforming something to create a solution. So you do need to trust that process. This new beginning energy, birth energy, can also be you having a rebirth and transforming. And also, with the monetary situation, it can even be for those of you that are separated, something relating to money coming your way from connections. Okay, last 3, which is on the 16th, we have Mercury in Leo trining Black Moon Lilith, the Sun in Leo trining Mars, and Venus in Cancer squaring Chiron. What does that mean? 8th house and 4th house placement. Your shared resources and home, clarity on both ends, as well as your contracts relating to, and as long as you're not standing in your way and you can actually stay grounded during this month, you're going to get benefits out of this. But you will have the idea as to how your emotions potentially are preventing you from having a very light energy. Now, it doesn't have to be that, it's by looking at these emotions and looking at your value systems. Do they match the contracts? So it doesn't have to be that you're off path, but it can be that suddenly you're coming to a realization that maybe something doesn't resonate with you, or maybe a person doesn't resonate with you, or maybe that in fact their feelings are as relevant as yours, and having to actually look at that, taking some time and working through differences. And the end of the month is really healthy for working through differences with the Virgo placement. Now we'll get into the energy of couples. Let me see. Some of you may be actually getting a car this month. Again, caution if you're not wanting to have children. There is the energy of babies. New connections can come in as well. And new social settings, because you do have a lot of hopes and dreams energy coming through. Shared resources can come up between the 20th and the 30th. And any differences as per se, or, troubles that you may have at work, you're going to find that concentration levels will be more fine-tuned, and also health-related dynamics where we're actually slowing down and we're working through things. It can also be a great time of the month to actually look at what this month has done to us and how we can actually go back into healthier ways of dealing with situations. This can even be with diet, exercise, communication, because we have Mercury moving into Cancer, where we talk about our emotions, and it can actually, recharge us, so to speak, but doing things in a healthier way. Do remember that we do have Chiron and Aries retrograde, so we can have very sharp tongues at the moment, or get snappy because of tension. Now, old wounds can come up in couples. I'm also seeing, if there's been dynamics at home and you do have children, it can be very tense at the moment. There can be boredom energy going on. And again, third eye. People thinking a lot can be a lot of opportunities to actually notice that maybe people are quiet all of a sudden. Some people internalize things, other people express it outright. So again, if scenarios are coming up, number one, you will find, ultimately speaking, Capricorn, you guys are looking at your foundation. Some of you may have been renovating and changing things. Others of you may be looking at home and just thinking you need a fresh start. So some of you might have had way too much history at one location, and it is due to that it is sensory linking to the direct environment. When we do talk about wounds, there's different ways you can look at it. Sometimes, it's not that you haven't done the work on that wound, the memories connecting to that location. It may be, especially with the 8th house energy, that your time in that accommodation has resonated long enough, and now you're feeling maybe you're wanting something different. So that subject can come up. Some of it can be due to the fact you were renovating. It's causing frustration. And trying to deal with this multitasking energy, maybe working too much and not having enough time at home. So it's going to depend on how it lands for you. Try and use amethyst as well. Anything in a sense of green gems. And again, you may find you can have inner child wounds going on. So solar plexus, sacral chakra energy. As to communications with the 8th house and side of connections, the one thing I'm seeing very largely this month is mind, body, soul. Now, if you're not seeing eye to eye in the connection during the month, don't set it in concrete that it's so. What you will find is towards the end of the month, you will feel more so understanding, having enough time to actually absorb that information, seeing your side, seeing their side. And because we each have a Pisces placement, their view of what a dream is and what your view of a dream is can be different. But with the 8th house placement as well, it can be very unique in the way you can actually bridge that gap. The squaring aspects aren't there to hinder you. They can profusely show if you are on a very different page, but you would have well and truly known that already. But as for the dream goal, it can be integrated. It is just frustration. This is a time between now and the end of the year where if there's cracks in a connection, it can really start showing those cracks. It will help people become more clear if they are where they are meant to be. It will test it and it can build it. I mean, this, as they say, the strongest will survive, but we all survive. We're just merely, with that Uranus and Taurus energy, moving on the path to our higher good, whatever that be. So many of you will be discussing these things. There could be extra tension if there is an unexpected pregnancy. Again, whatever is supposed to be happening will happen, especially with that 5th house placement. So please do trust the process. You guys will do what you feel is correct for you, ultimately speaking. But I do feel by the end of the month with the Virgo aspects, you can integrate it. Now, if you want me to do your report with your partner's energy and yours, to be able to see how you're both viewing it, you'd need to book a reading so I can read, your astrology charts, and I can do it based on your zodiac signs without having the charts. At a very basic level, I can give you some tips on how to handle it. So with cars and driving, be super careful. As to your energy of what your routine will be like this month, with you're a Capricorn, you're used to this, you know what accountability is. It will be busy. Just to make sure your partner understands that you do love them and that it's not you're trying to be responsible. Yes, you miss them too, but this energy is actually taking a lot of your time up. And if you can keep that open communication up and discuss your feelings, you can balance this month. Now, as for single, same scenario goes. Be careful. Intimate connections. Also, with the energy of child, there can be subjects connected to exes and children at the moment. That's for those of you that are TFs. There can be subjects coming up to do with children this month and wounds linking to that. You also may hold a pain body experience, which I'll do TF readings this month, linking into that. So we'll keep that separate at the moment. If you're not wanting to have children, do be careful. Also, there is, for those of you that are single, inner child wounds. But this is a huge time this month where blasts from the past can come back like a Venus retrograde, but it's there to clear things up. If the energy, it's almost like they say, if a bird is truly yours, set it free. And if it comes back, it was always meant to be. That's the energy where we need to be in a frequency. It is very much linked to the laws of attraction. You guys have gone through a great deal of change with the Cancer Capricorn axis. It doesn't mean that energy's over. It means some of us might have realized that we needed to end a contract in some shape or form. And finalizing that energy can take some time. So now we're implementing all we've learned till the end of the year. And if we don't, yes, it can be very karmic in nature. It can get very messy. Because we're entering a new energy, moving through this Lionsgate portal, between now and the 11th, you can have purgatory experiences. It's positive. You're having an upgrade. You will feel more fatigued. You can feel nauseous. You can feel headachy and achy. And then, with Ascension, it's funny. It's very quick. You move through it quicker. If you're needing to get a check, definitely get a check. I'm not a doctor. Definitely at a level with the Virgo energy, some synchronistic events can come through where you can see the health of situations. Virgo is very much orientated to health, and really great for analytical details. The devil in the detail, reading fine print. So it will help if you need to do things like that. You'll have the intellectual energy. But driving on the road, be super careful. Now, I am feeling if you guys have had issues with your connections, it will balance out as you proceed. Because you had the axis of Cancer Capricorn, you were moving towards that axis to yourself to reflect, and it transformed you. Also, now because you've changed, the relationships, even if it was a past person, because you've changed, the way they can come towards you is different, so it will be healthier. So trust in that process, but I do feel a lot of socialization for you. I don't know why. For the singles, I feel social energy. Let me see where Gemini is for you. Let me double check. I'm waiting for my dinner. It's like I've ordered it. I'm so busy tonight. It's been hectic. Where's Gemini? Because this is really going to relate to you. Okay, 6th house. Your health and your career sector. Over the next 2.5 years, you are going to be such a totally different person. So please do trust the process. I do see a lot of you maybe having to look at, again, schedule and balancing things. But I do feel it to be more you're amping up. Be careful of overexerting yourself this month, especially if you are an exercise freak. I mean, I used to exercise 3 hours a day, which I'm going back to it. Not 3 hours, though. I have far too much of a hectic life at the moment, so balance is the key, especially for 2020. Caution with exercise. I do feel with that 6th house placement, there can be communication. Now, I do feel this will be coming through between Venus in Gemini and Venus in Cancer, because it's relating to emotions, you also may be meditating upon, okay, what sort of a person am I? Do I do anything social? What sort of style do I do things in a sense of being social? When you're talking about this, I do feel with this conversation that can come through, even if it's just a revelation for you, when you go to actually communicate about these blockages in the connection that was previous or move towards a new one, because there's both energies here, you're going to have the tools inside you to be able to choose and pick effectively. But try and keep your throat chakra as neutral as possible, and bear in mind, going into hermit mode, because you do have a lot of fourth house placement here, it can be affecting your psyche. Once you learn how to balance your aura, you won't need to be in hermit mode at a permanent level, because we all directly need connections. The axis of Cancer Capricorn wasn't there to punish you and take everything away. It was to give you yourself home, you inside yourself home, to understand you're perfect and loving the way you are, and that you can attract high vibration energies and you're worth it. So please don't get to a place where you're going into hermit mode and you feel that's all there is work and home. You are more than that, and your energy right now is showing you that that's required. Now, health, yes, big changes as I mentioned. Caution with your diet. Caution with pacifiers this month, because we have heavy energy. We may go for the chocolate bar, we may go for the alcohol, and I'm not promoting it. I'm more saying attempt to keep things in moderation. When we do have Mars retrograde, a lot of people can become very aggressive, so be super cautious about your environment, where you're going, who you're socializing with. It can, and just check the news. Watch the news over the next few months. You will start seeing, because Mars relates to the planet of war. Now, we all have the energy inside us when it comes to a wound. Now, put that in billions of people. You can see it synchronistically with people around you. It is energy, and it can affect our psyche, because we're having Aries and Leo, which is third eye, intuition, thought, ego, when we're not grounded. Not all of us, when we're not grounded. We all fall into it. It's humanistic experiences. So caution with your routine. You may find overall, if you can balance your routine, you will feel less stressed. Also, there can be food groups that are affecting you at the moment. Around the end of the month, you'll have opportunities to look at quality systems. But definitely when you're getting triggered, use the traffic light. Red, stop. You're at burnout mode, go and rest. You'll be more productive in the long run. Krispy Kremes, don't even get me started. I've gone off food. I went off food after my food poisoning or ascension symptoms, whatever it was. It went within 2 days, but I chose not to fight it. Now, what else am I saying? If you are having issues with finances at the moment, don't be too worried. Now, yes, obviously what's in your control, do. But again, finalize bills, okay? Anything old that you do directly have the finances for, tie them up now, because what you're moving towards is that clean slate. August is really about tying those energies up, manifesting new energies in. By the time we do have the new moon in Leo, oh, thanks, sweet. I will in 2 ticks. I can't do too many super chats because I've got 3 videos today, and then I'll come back tomorrow and I can do more. Okay, let's see for career. Most of you will have really brilliant ideas right now. I also feel your schedule, for those of you that are working, is going to be very bombarded. I'm feeling for those of you that are working, you may not be spending as much time at home. And if you are, it kind of goes yin yang. Some of you are just spending way too much time at home, and it's mucking with your psyche. Others of you, it is related more to do with the fact that, there's things going on at home, but you just can't. Oh, thanks, sweet. But you just can't get to the point where you can do both. I do feel in your alone time is when you get the highest energy for meditation, but just don't stay there. If you're thinking on something and you're really stuck, and it keeps coming up for you. It's better if there's no solution, tune out of it and disconnect, and a solution will come towards you. It's the way manifestation works, and it's mind mastery. Overall, providing you have been doing everything effectively on the 4th, if you are out of alignment, it may come up. If you haven't been doing what you're supposed to be doing with that Venus and Gemini energy, yes, comments can come up at work or situations can come up, but you'll be more critical of yourself than anybody else. So you'll know if that's so. And you'll be like saying to yourself, okay, it's time to level up. Let's get going. We need to adhere to these things. I've been focusing over here. I need to focus back over here. And you'll always know when that happens because things around you will start crumbling down. Now, as for innovation, both energies of working and unemployed have this energy coming through. Intuitively, tap into that frequency. Keep your fluid up. Take 5 here and there where you can actually tune into things. Because we have Neptune and Pisces retrograde, you can actually really, you might be these situations where they're scoring, it's to create innovation. So if you suddenly see something's not working, what it does is with all these retrogrades, it's like, wow, there's got to be a better way. That is what the creative energy is coming through. So if we can utilize it that way and not become combative and think that universe is against us, it's actually creating very creative minds right now. So we must tap into that instead of the ego. And with the Leo energy, move through with mind mastery. I can do this. I will do this. I can achieve my hopes and dreams. I need to think outside the box. Now, for those of you that are unemployed, again, innovation. Tap into some of those hopes and dreams and have a look at that. Again, the solutions will come to you if you take time. If you're only focused on this is what it is and looking at the media and getting triggered, it's not benefiting you. Do such, yes, but tap out and actually do something productive. It more comes down to with the blockage of when adversity is coming. It's almost a magnet. We are like a magnet. So when we're in that dense, heavy energy, you tend to find in major retrogrades, it's solar plexus sacral chakra. And you'll have triggers to do with fear, to do with what do I create? You've got 5th house placement there, which is co-creative energy. By balancing those energies, eating the orange and the yellow food group, doing guided meditation. Obviously, if you are sick, go to the doctors. I am not a physician. I'm a spiritual healer. Looking at those energies as well as, obvious help from that side, you can actually balance the energy to the point that it can liberate you. So you'll have more energy to achieve things. You won't be as stuck in quicksand and you'll start thinking outside the box. Now, media marketing and advertising is huge for you, as well as any large corporations. When we had the Saturn Pluto conjunction at the beginning of the year, when you look back in history, when we did have that, very large enterprises fell that were built on non-solid ground or maybe weren't serving the wider group energy. And because we are moving to 2021, which is connected to a lot of energy in Aquarius, we'll have Saturn and Jupiter there, which means, the father figure of universe as well as our growth. It will be wider group energy. It'll be global energy, something very reciprocal in nature. So marketing, in a sense, and larger businesses that stand now are the ones to apply to. Also thinking outside the box, using media, doing things outside the box, and getting to a point we can actually use earth-based energy. So, holistic approaches. People are moving towards that. Marketing, how you can, whatever you're doing in whatever industry, looking at the niche market now that life has transformed. Now, some of us might have attachment to how the world was before. Others of us know, yes, due to what's gone on, it has highlighted major themes, which is connectivity. A lot of global businesses will be built. And it's almost like if you've had a tower, what do? You put the foundation down first, because we have the nodes in Gemini. A lot of it will start in your local area first. And it doesn't mean that there won't be movement. It's start from the foundation first and then build upon it. And because we'll be doing it in a healthier way, it will be a more secure way. So some of you potentially, yes, can do home-based businesses, but because we have the Capricorn energy there, it will be heavy. Most of it you will get most success by the end of the year, moving into 2021. If you do want coaching in that area and you want me to look at your chart, I can. Other than that, caution on the 19th. Solar plexus can be activated, and it's about you looking at the psychology surrounding your home and, where you're wanting to go. That's really what's coming through. We can see what. Yeah. Okay. Yes, hoping to get back to promoting my therapy. Yeah, and you can look the therapy energies and things to that degree. Try and have the yin yang approach of it. Is there something you can do via media and then in the 3D? Because most of our energy was very much built on, hey, I need to be with you. So yes, you need to have a bit of both. It can be more local based, problems, find solutions. That's innovation. It's like, okay, now that this has happened, I remember working in nursing for years, and my whole process when I first started, I was the student, and Gemini energy is being a student. We've got that there for 2.5 years. So being open to different ways and not being scared is good. It also means you'll learn different things. It's also the jack of all trades. So when I worked in that industry for a brief time, I went into a very different industry, and it was a predominantly male environment, and it was in a factory environment, and we were sort of put in a corner, and that's what you're doing. And within about a week, I was helping around the floor. And I remember asking the manager at the time, out of this group, who do you feel is going to be here? Now, it all comes down to fresh eyes and situations. It's not ego, it's fresh eyes. I'm a fresh-eyed person coming into a new situation with experience in a very different field. I can still directly apply that to a different industry. So what I had, which I didn't know, was very good time management, analytical detailing, when I could look at problem solving because I had to think on my feet. So don't ever think that the experience you have can't be applied to a new industry. It's very important to not underestimate yourself, but also don't get to a point you think you can't rebuild after the tower. Eighth house placement is to do with maybe an industry that you were working in is gone. Does that mean that you're useless in society? No. Gemini energy can also be upskilling. So it's a really positive time as well to think outside the box. We're never too old to, learn something new. And it doesn't mean we can't try something different. We may be really great in it, we had no idea. I mean, some industries we tend to fall into, and the education system has always taught us, no, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what we're taught. But, a lot of things that we don't get taught at school are life skills that life teach us. And they're the actual elements that help us move forward, not necessarily all schooling. And schooling is 100% necessary. But there are some elements that really prevent us from actually achieving things, which I feel they're more doing that when it comes to sports these days. They're looking at psychology. Psychology surrounding our belief systems does affect the way we achieve goals. Inner child wounds can affect the way we dare to dream. Just check yourself now and then. To a girlfriend one day, I said to her, how many times are you making a decision based on your opinion or based on your childhood conditioning? Say Vegemite each time you need to do that. And she was actually deeply, profoundly shocked over how many times she was actually referring to her preconditioning over, was that her true belief system? And that's really, with the Sagittarius axis, what we have to look at. Actually tap into what you're thinking. With Saturn and Aquarius, it can cause a bit of issues in 2021 where we need to be in a tribe dynamic. So there can be a bit of bullying energy going on. But if you've done the soul work on yourself and you see the bigger picture, you will be able to move through that energy and not feel like the black sheep of society. Sometimes we do have to be in an innovation to be different. And it's really going to force us, the Sagittarius axis, to not have such rigid. I remember having people that were 99 years old and they were listening to modern music, yet you go to the room next door and they were like, oh, that music, it's the devil music. So some of us grow with the time, some of us can't. We stay in the, we stay where it feels safe. And that's no shade, it's just where we're at and because of our conditioning. I'm going to love you and leave you. I have 2 more videos left. The other ones are going to be launched later. I'll try and come back after dinner. And if you have any questions after this video, you can put it down in the bottom. If you are wanting a booking, as I mentioned, it is filling up very quick. Thank God Jenny has booked already. And also I will be doing more updates for romance reads with oracles. Now, the rune you have, before I go, is linked to fire. It is connected to the astrology, Uranus retrograde. So, you guys, I feel yous. Your luck. Okay? Keep your mind clear. Let me see what it says. Okay. Now, in the mundane, now we will go through these energies for the squaring aspects. So when it comes up, remember this, okay? Misfortune, damage, shock, sudden change, short-term distress, following by long-term rewards. As the tantric power, powerful natural forces, evolution, regeneration, cosmic union. I really do feel in the month of August, it's a bit like whatever this transformation is, it is for the bigger picture. And when I came back into union, a lot of situations that were happening for me, and union comes from self first, then it's with connection. What you do tend to find is when you have the egoic belief and you go, oh my gosh, and you're trying to micromanage something, is as soon as you are so exhausted by it, just accept what it looks like, even if it looks ugly, and accept who you are and how you feel about it, and sit back without a solution, and within 24 hours a solution will come. Try it. You've got nothing to lose. And I swear it works. I've tried it. And I'm going, are you telling me, universe, it was this easy? I mean, so I really do laugh at myself. I must be like such a naughty student of source. And when I go through it, I mean, you'd laugh at me. You'd look at me like I was low frequency. I'm having a temper tantrum like a brat. And I'm going, I don't like it. Just breathe it out, okay? You're having a humanistic experience. Understand your energy. It's like we are two. We are the body and we have the soul. The soul is trying to teach you a lesson and you're having a brat attack, and then you come back down to earth and you're going, oh, and you'll get a headache because you'll be thinking about it, processing it, trying to understand it, like, somehow you can avoid disaster. You'll never have to go through it again. Look at your life like eat, pray, love. Enjoy the food you eat. Go on a journey. Dare to dream. See what happens. And even if it's disastrous, you could win the lotto tomorrow. Okay? You just don't know. You got to let it go. Trust. The world's your oyster. You were meant to grow. You weren't meant to stay in a shell. Okay? We're getting out of that. If relationships and connections are hindering you, let it go. It can evolve and it will come back beautiful. Trust. Trust. Love and light.